There is a secret many people have overlooked, and once you understand it, your prayer life will never be the same again. Most people sleep through one of the most spiritually significant windows of the day. But those who have discovered the mystery of praying between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. know something others do not. This is not superstition. This is about spiritual alignment, discipline, and access. There are moments in history when heaven seems to invite deeper communion, and the early watches of the morning have long been regarded as such a time. When the world is quiet, distractions are silenced, and your spirit becomes sensitive, something powerful begins to happen. You are not just praying in those hours, you are legislating. Prayer is not begging God to do what He already promised. Prayer is enforcing divine will in the earth. And when you rise while others sleep, you step into a dimension of focus many never experience. But hear this, don't miss what I'm about to tell you, because this can transform your prayer life forever. Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., your mind is less crowded, your spirit is more alert. There is less noise competing for your attention. That is why revelation often comes in stillness. Many people pray in panic during the day, reacting to problems. But in these early hours, you pray from authority before the battle even begins. You stop fighting from defense. You start ruling from position. That changes everything. When you pray in this watch, you are saying, before my day starts, heaven has already gone before me. Some breakthroughs do not happen because people lack desire. They happen because people lack spiritual consistency. And consistency is built in hidden places. Stay with me, because the second reason is where many people miss their breakthrough. These hours train your spirit to dominate your flesh. Your bed says sleep, your spirit says seek. And every time you choose prayer over comfort, you strengthen spiritual authority. Authority is not shouted into existence. It is developed through discipline. This is why many who pray in these hours testify of unusual peace, sharper discernment, divine ideas, warnings from God, and sudden breakthroughs. Because when you prioritize the King early, His agenda orders your day. And listen carefully, the enemy fears believers who understand spiritual timing, because a believer who prays before dawn is often a believer who walks in discernment by day. That person becomes harder to distract, harder to discourage, harder to defeat. Can I tell you something shocking? Many people are waiting for miracles while neglecting the habits that position them for miracles. The early watch is not magic, it is positioning. It is saying, Lord, before I touch my phone, before I touch my schedule, before I touch my problems, I touch your presence, and presence changes perspective. What looked impossible at midnight often looks small by dawn. That is why some of your greatest victories may begin when the world is asleep. Maybe your family needs restoration. Maybe your finances need breakthrough. Maybe your mind has been under attack. Try meeting God in the early watch, not casually, not religiously, but intentionally. Bring scripture, bring worship, bring declarations. Pray over your home. Pray over your children, pray over your purpose, and watch what begins to shift. But don't click away yet, because this next truth may be the key you've been missing. Many people ask, why do strong believers seem to carry unusual confidence? Often it is because they have learned to win private battles before public ones. Victory in daylight is often born in darkness, before giants fall publicly. Faith rises privately, and some of the strongest faith is forged at 3 a.m., This is where fear gets broken. This is where direction becomes clear. This is where burdens become strategy. This is where weakness meets power. Do not see these hours as sacrifice. See them as access. You are not losing sleep. You are gaining spiritual ground. Even if you start with 15 minutes, start. Consistency matters more than intensity. And as you keep showing up, what begins as discipline becomes delight. Then prayer is no longer duty. It becomes desire. And once prayer becomes desire, everything changes. Because the greatest secret about 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. prayer is not merely that breakthroughs happen. It is that you change. And when you change, your family can change. Your future can change. Your atmosphere can change. Your life can change. The secret is out. Those early hours are not empty. They are loaded with possibility. And those who seek in the watch often walk in what others only wish for. So tonight or tomorrow before dawn, set the alarm. Rise up, steep into the quiet, and discover what happens when heaven hears your voice before sunrise. There's a reason the enemy does not want believers awake in the early watch. There is a reason distraction fights hardest when you decide to seek God before dawn, because something happens in those hours that ordinary routines cannot produce. Praying between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is not simply another devotional habit. It is stepping into a window of spiritual authority where you begin to enforce divine will before the pressures of the day even arise. While many see prayer as asking, those who understand kingdom principles know prayer is also alignment, legislation, and dominion. When you rise in the early watch, you are not reacting to life. You are positioning over it. Before your phone rings, before problems start speaking, before the world places demands on your mind, there is a sacred stillness where your spirit can hear clearly. In that silence, faith grows stronger than fear. In that hidden place, you begin declaring over your day, over your family, over your purpose, heaven's will be done. That is authority. That is spiritual government in action. And when you pray from authority, you stop approaching God like a victim and begin standing before Him as a son or daughter who knows their covenant rights. But stay with me, because this next truth changed everything for many believers. The early watch is powerful because it places God first, not problems first. Most people start their mornings already under pressure, already responding to anxiety, already trying to recover ground. But those who pray before dawn gain ground before battle even begins. They walk into the day, covered, ordered, prepared. What others call coincidence, they begin to recognize as divine arrangement. Doors open, discernment sharpens, peace rules. Why? Because authority was exercised before sunrise. And understand this, authority is not in how loud you pray, but in the position from which you pray. When you rise in those hours despite tiredness, despite resistance, despite comfort calling you back, you are telling your flesh that spirit leads here. That discipline builds power. Don't miss this, because many lose their breakthrough right here. Some people wait until crisis forces them to pray. But those who understand the early watch know prevention is greater than reaction. They pray over attacks before they manifest. They declare protection before danger appears. They release blessings before obstacles rise. That is not fear-driven prayer. That is kingdom foresight. Imagine beginning every day having already invited heaven into your decisions, your relationships, your battles. Imagine facing opposition knowing your morning was already settled in prayer. That changes how you walk, and maybe this is your moment to begin. Maybe one early morning prayer can start a new season. Set the alarm, rise up. Even if it starts with a few minutes, enter that sacred watch. Because when you learn to pray before dawn, you are not merely starting the day early. You are stepping into spiritual authority before the world wakes up. There is a principle many people want to skip, yet it is the foundation of every lasting breakthrough. What is built in secret is revealed in public. Victories people admire are often born in places nobody sees. Strength that looks effortless was usually forged through hidden discipline. And nowhere is that more true than in the early watch of prayer. When you rise while others sleep, when you seek God in unseen moments, you are developing something greater than a habit. You are building spiritual consistency that can carry real authority. Breakthrough is rarely accidental. It is often the fruit of disciplined preparation. The reason some believers stand firm in storms while others collapse under pressure is not because one faces fewer battles. It is because one has been trained in secret. The early watch becomes a school of spiritual government. In those quiet hours, faith is sharpened, discernment is developed, weakness is confronted, and your spirit learns how to lead your life instead of being led by circumstances. But hear this carefully, because this is where many people miss the mystery of power. Discipline is not punishment, it is preparation. Every time you wake to pray when comfort says stay in bed, something is happening inside you. Your flesh is losing control. Your spirit is gaining strength. And authority grows wherever discipline is honored. This is why hidden prayer matters. Public victory without private preparation rarely lasts. The battles you win before they appear are often the most important victories of all, because some warfare is defeated before it ever reaches manifestation. Through prayer, confusion can be broken before it enters your home. Through prayer, Wisdom can meet a decision before mistakes are made. Through prayer, peace can govern your mind before anxiety tries to settle in. And this is what many do not understand. Consistency in prayer does not only change situations, it changes the one who prays. Stay with me, because this next truth may be the key to your breakthrough. People often want sudden miracles while resisting daily discipline, but many miracles are hidden inside repeated obedience. The early watch teaches endurance. It teaches focus. It teaches how to stand when answers seem delayed. And those lessons prepare you for public battles long before they arrive. Think about a warrior who trains before war, not during it. That is what secret prayer does. It trains you before crisis. It prepares your spirit before opposition. So when challenges rise, you are not panicking. You are responding from a place already strengthened. And maybe that is why some of your greatest breakthroughs have been delayed. Not because heaven is silent, but because discipline is still being formed. So do not despise hidden seasons. Do not underestimate quiet mornings with God. What feels unnoticed may be producing power. What feels repetitive may be building authority. Because discipline in secret always carries seeds of breakthrough in public. And those who learn to win unseen battles often become those who walk in visible victory. There is something powerful about meeting God at dawn, because before the world begins speaking, heaven is already inviting you into alignment. The early hours are not empty moments on a clock. They are opportunities where atmospheres can shift and lives can change. Many people wake up carrying burdens, confusion, and invisible pressures, but those who learn to seek God at dawn often discover that peace is not something they chase during the day. It is something they establish before the day begins. And once peace is established, everything starts responding differently. Prayer at dawn does more than calm emotions. It rearranges spiritual atmosphere. When you pray in those early hours, fear begins losing its voice. Anxiety starts surrendering its hold. Your home, your mind, and even the direction of your day can come under divine order. This is why people who honor the early watch often speak of unusual clarity. They received direction where there was uncertainty. They sensed warnings where danger was hidden. They recognized doors opening where none seemed possible. Because dawn prayer does not simply prepare you to face life. It can alter the atmosphere in which life unfolds. But stay with me, because many people miss the deepest power of this. Prayer at dawn is not only about personal peace, it is also intercession for those connected to you. When you call the names of your family before God in those sacred hours, you are doing more than making requests. You are covering generations. You are declaring purpose over children, protection over households, healing over relationships. And what begins in prayer often manifests in ways you may not immediately see. Some breakthroughs happen suddenly. Others begin as invisible shifts in atmosphere. A hardened heart softens. A delayed opportunity appears. A troubled home finds peace. These are not accidents. They are often the fruit of persistent prayer offered when most people are asleep. And hear this carefully. Discernment grows in quiet places. During the noise of the day, many miss divine instruction. But dawn creates room to hear. It becomes a place where strategy is received, not merely petitions spoken. Don't leave yet, because this next truth could change how you see morning prayer forever. Destiny is often shaped by what you do in hidden moments. Some people wait for big moments to change their future, but often destiny shifts through repeated mornings of obedience. One dawn prayer can redirect a decision. One dawn prayer can release courage. One dawn prayer can preserve you from an unseen trap. Imagine beginning every day not driven by pressure but led by purpose. Imagine your home covered before trouble knocks. Imagine walking in peace because heaven has already spoken over your morning. That is why prayer at dawn changes lives. It shifts atmospheres before conflict forms. It releases peace before fear enters. It gives discernment before confusion rises. And as you keep meeting God in those sacred hours, you may discover your greatest breakthroughs were waiting for you at daybreak. Many people come to prayer seeking answers, breakthroughs, and miracles, and God does move in those ways. But there is a deeper mystery many overlook. The greatest miracle of early prayer is not only what changes around you, but what changes within you. Because while you may enter prayer asking God to move in your circumstances, often His first work is transforming the one who prays. And once the person changes, everything connected to that person can begin to change. In the early watch, when distractions are silent and your heart is open before God, prayer begins doing more than releasing requests. It starts reshaping perspective. Fear gives way to faith. Anxiety gives way to peace. Weakness gives way to courage. And little by little, the person who entered prayer burdened and uncertain begins rising with authority and clarity. That is transformation. Many think prayer is only about obtaining things from God, but prayer is also where God forms character, deepens wisdom, and aligns a person with purpose. In those hidden hours, pride can be broken, motives can be purified, vision can be sharpened. This is why some people emerge from seasons of prayer carrying unusual peace, even when circumstances have not fully changed. Because they have changed, but stay with me, because this is where the real secret begins. Answered prayer is powerful. A transformed people become vessels through which answers keep flowing. A changed heart speaks differently. A changed mind decides differently. A changed spirit responds differently under pressure. And those changes affect marriages, families, businesses, ministries, and destinies. You may begin praying for your home to change, only to discover God first strengthens your patience, your wisdom, your love. And through your transformation, the atmosphere in your home starts shifting. That is how prayer changes everything, often through changing you first. And hear this carefully. Many breakthroughs are delayed because people want God to change situations while resisting personal transformation. But in the kingdom, inner renewal often precedes outward manifestation. Don't miss this next truth, because it may unlock your understanding of prayer forever. The early watch trains you to become the kind of person who can carry what you have been asking for. It is one thing to receive blessing. It is another to have the maturity to steward it. Prayer develops that maturity. As you return again and again before dawn, something holy happens. Your discernment sharpens. Your priorities reorder. What once controlled you loses power. What once intimidated you no longer moves you. That is miracle, because a healed heart is miracle. A renewed mind is miracle. A transformed life is miracle. And maybe the secret behind early prayer was never just about getting answers faster. Maybe it was about becoming someone different in God's presence. Because when prayer changes you, it changes how you lead, how you love, how you fight, how you believe. And through a transformed you, everything connected to your life can begin to transform too. As we come to the end of this message, remember this. The secret of praying between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is not merely about waking early. It is about stepping into spiritual authority, hidden discipline, atmosphere-shifting power, and personal transformation. In those sacred hours, battles can be won before they begin. Peace can be established before pressure comes, and your spirit can be strengthened for every assignment ahead. The early watch is where God shapes warriors, releases strategy, and prepares destinies. If you have been waiting for change, perhaps your breakthrough is waiting in those quiet hours before dawn. Start where you are. Even a few minutes in sincere prayer can begin a new season. Rise, seek, declare, and watch what God does through a surrendered life. The secret is out. Those who meet God before sunrise often walk in victories the world cannot explain. Your next breakthrough may begin in the next early watch.